what I've come to really understand about eating disorders is that there is such deep, profound meaning in what the person struggle with what their struggle is with food. And hopefully tonight I'm going to share a little bit about that with you so that you'll get to see how amazing it is, because once you discover that disordered eating behaviors, whatever they may be, whether it's restricting your food or binging and purging or exercise addiction or exercise resistant or whatever form it takes for somebody, the behaviors are speaking, but they're speaking in a language that's coded. And what really gets to be a lot of fun, once you can start to see it in that way, is if you can crack the code, it's incredible what you can discover. And you crack the code through the language of metaphor. So that's the language of our stories. That's the language of our art. That's the language of our songs and our poetry. It's the language of our dreams. And I believe it's the language of disordered eating. So, for example, if I'm working with somebody and they're telling me about a dream and they say, oh, well, I was driving down the freeway, and I go, wait, you were what? I was driving down the freeway. The freeway? If you're driving down the freeway, it would be a good idea to look at where you were coming from and where you were headed. Because you see, in dreams, freeway doesn't mean just freeway. It means free way. Because to get from our unconscious mind into our little pea brain consciousness, which is kind of tiny, it's sort of like taking all this information from a vast ocean and compacting it so tight that it can get in. And so the way it's done is it's done through metaphor. So you learn not to take language or behavior at face value. And this is truly where the joy of recovery comes in. Because once you're able to crack the code, what happens is kind of like, oh, I could have had a V8. I mean, it's like you get it. And when you get it, it's funny. Yes, it's hard work. Recovery, there's no doubt about it. Recovery is hard work, and at times it can feel like you're having to crawl over cut glass on bare knees. But there's also joy in the process. And the joy comes when the lights start to come on and the lights go off, and it really is enlightening, not just in terms of illumination, but also in terms of levity. Things lighten up, and you start to see the lights in someone's eyes. You start to see the lightness of their step, and it's such a beautiful thing. So I can't help myself. I want to be a part of it in any way I can, and that's why, for me, being able to open something here on the Big Island is just like my idea of a good time. So to give you an idea, I'm hoping that maybe when you leave, you'll have a sense of understanding for yourself, because it's not like, oh, there's those people that have this weird eating thing, and then there's the rest of us. No, we're all in the same boat. It's just a matter of degree to which we are speaking. There's a part of us that is speaking and trying to say something that for one reason or another we can't put into words. Maybe it's because we don't have the words, maybe because we're afraid to say the words, maybe because we don't even know what it is we're trying to say. But nevertheless, there's a bigger, wider, deeper part of ourselves that just won't shut up. and so after a while you start to realize there's wisdom in what this part is trying to say, but it's speaking the language of metaphor. It's sort of like, waiting for God's voice to come through the clouds. It's like, no, God doesn't speak in English. It's like the eating disorder speaks in its own language, in the language of metaphor. So to start off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start speaking to you in that language. And you may not even quite get the connection. It might feel like a little, maybe when you took French lessons for the first time and you walk into class and the teacher is speaking in French and she's giving you the syllabus and everything in French, and you're going, oh my gosh, if I knew French, I wouldn't be here. Why is she talking in French? And the reason for that, though, is calculated. It's to tune your ear to the language. So even if you don't know what's being said, as your ear tunes to it, you can start to get the nuances. And when the time comes that you do learn the language, you'll have some of that already in there. So this is the language of metaphor.